Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Sar. For those of you who are first time, I guess, guests and whatnot, I usually don't do as much of the vlogs as my wife does, but welcome, and I'm glad that you guys are here. Um, I am doing a video today, hopefully to help out, whoever is listening to this. I'm taking it from the, married person's perspective, but of course, if you're single, fiscal responsibility, which is the title of this video, is important for any and everyone. So here we go. I'm gonna give you guys 5 pointers that's kind of helped us to get out of debt, and also, well, helping us getting out of debt, also to be, in a place where we are much better off than where we were before. All right, so number one, man, to get right into it, get out of debt. Treat debt as if it's a cancer. We have quite a bit of student loans, but T and I knew that, getting into marriage, and we talked about it, and we made kind of plans towards it, and right now we've been knocking it out. Fortunately, I got a pretty decent job that pays fairly well, and been able to knock out a lot of the debt much faster than we had believed we would be able to do. And just imagining how much room that is going to save us when we're completely free of that burden. I mean, it would just be amazing just to think about it. We follow Dave Ramsey's sort of principles slash guidelines, with the 7 steps and whatnot. Not everything he says rather, we take as gospel truth. We do understand that life happens. We also do, and I think Dave does as well. But we don't take to the degree of basically just living on ramen noodles and whatnot. We're not sure what tomorrow holds, and we don't know what it holds. So we spend, not crazy, but we spend enough so that we can enjoy the money and enjoy the time that we do have together, because you never know, right? So yeah, that's kind of our approach on that. We do take it very seriously. We've been tackling really hard. Right now, most of our most of the money that we make from my paycheck is going towards that, and then whatever T makes, we usually use that as just kind of living expenses, and pay other little things that we need to pay as well. But yeah, we've been graced and fortunate so much that by the end of, within the next 3 weeks, I'll say, we'll be out of her student loan debt, and then next is mine. And I mean, if you guys only knew how much it costs for me and her grad school combined to finish, it was a lot, but we thank God. All right, number 2, give freely and give when you can. So again, big proponent of giving, just not only as a person, but especially as a Christian. It's very important that you give. I think it only helps you to understand just the purpose of life. It's not just about hoarding money all to yourself. We don't necessarily believe in tithing to the church. We do give around 10%, sometimes more, sometimes less, to different facilities being people, in different measures. So somebody may say, hey, we need this or we need that, and depending on what God puts on our hearts, we give if we do have, and if we don't, we try to plan it so that we can at some point in time. We do think that it should be something that comes from the heart, so that's why we don't believe in the whole measure of just giving a strict 10%. It is a good guideline, a good baseline to follow, don't get us wrong. Or speaking for myself at this point, I think I speak for the household. It is something that we do carry together as a mindset. We always try to give to family when we can, which leads to our next point, which is be an enabler of good, and be wise in how you give your money. Don't give your money just to give to a drowning well, and what that means is, or never-ending well, basically giving to a person or a purpose that has no end. So if somebody um, has, mortgage issues, or has, I don't know, issues with providing food and stuff for themselves on a day-to-day basis, your one day giving, in my opinion, is not gonna save that person. It's not gonna help as much. But what you can do is basically conjure up a way, or think of a way, brainstorm, call those that you know network-wise, and think of ways where you can actually help that person really change the dynamics in which they live life on a day-to-day basis. So helping them with setting up a business, getting a job, helping them. And even if you can't do that, if you know somebody who can, we try to do things like that. We've been in places before where we've given a lot of money to causes that just, it's a recurring thing and it never changes, where we're like, all right, we can't put that burden on ourselves. And as a man, I can't, reasonably lead my family into that responsibility, knowing that there's so many other things that I need to take care of for our family ourselves. So it's just unwise in my opinion. If you do have, if you've been graced with that much money and that much resources, and God has put on your heart, go for it, do it. Go forth and conquer. And if that's what you let to do, that's great. But I think for us, it's just one of those things where we try to teach a man, how to fish, rather than keep feeding them on a day-to-day basis. Number 4, setting up a business. Get multiple streams of income. So from real estate to stocks to different business ventures to, of course, our 9 to 5 to, I wouldn't even call this YouTube channel one because we don't really have that many subscribers, which subscribe, by the way. We try to make sure that we have different ways of, getting monies in. And, something can happen the next day with one job or the other. So you never know. So you want to try to set up yourself in a way where you don't have to depend on, just one stream of income. And if, that basket drops, then you lose all your eggs, in a sense. So try to set yourself up in, in the best possible scenario where you're not depending on just, one streamline within the IT spectrum. We call that single point of failure. You don't want to be in, just in a position where you you lose everything just from one source. And then last, invest in yourself and your family. So that could mean many different things. So for me personally, being in IT, I invest in myself in a sense of training, relaxation, because there are many times where I do need to relax and just kind of get away from the computer. In terms of training others as well. So for me, we have another company called Open Path, which essentially is a training forum, online training forum, where we train individuals within the cybersecurity space, within Splunk as a SIM tool, but then there's also different tools we use as well. If you're interested, check us out. And aside from that, from what I get from training is, I also, not only help people, but I actually learn a lot because I prepare, very, I prepare, it takes a lot, to kind of prep the way that I need to prep to get things done. And I learn a lot, and in learning a lot, I also feel like I can give back a lot more. I think the same goes for T once he teaches others, not just within the field of SLP, but also just, I think, biblical teachings. And then the other part about that, and your family. So I do think that if your family does better, you do better. So setting up your family with different types of business ventures. If you look at some of these big major corporations, the multi-billion-dollar ones, a lot of them are family based that started back in, way yonder. But what that means is that they have actually developed a strategy where it's a generational wealth type of deal, where they train one another, where you just don't squander the money and everything just goes to one person. So a child that suddenly becomes, well, a teenager becomes, quote unquote, an adult, gets $1 billion as far as inheritance, and doesn't know anything how to deal with that, will squander that away. So investing in your family means that you not only help them to set up businesses, but they can set it up in a way where it can survive longer generations. One of the things we want to do is train Mackenzie, Ami, and whoever else comes on board, how to run a business and how to run that effectively, and how to leave some type of legacy for their children by God's grace. So that's all the 5 tips that I have. We do have more things in line that are coming. Financially, we've been blessed to be able to be where we're at. And it took a lot of hard work. It wasn't just like one of those things we woke up and like, hey, we're doing good. It's one of those things where we had to cut out a lot of things and had to be very frugal in spending in certain areas. Doesn't mean that we live like hermits or we live as if we are surviving on a $2 budget, but it does mean that we're not spending every dime that comes in. So I hope this video has been helpful. If you've not subscribed, subscribe, and I'll do my best to try to be more active in the videos and making more. I think Tara says this is not a vlog. This is like a sit down or something. So I'll do my best to be more involved in sit downs and vlogs. And next up, it's probably the baby within the next couple weeks. So keep us in prayer. And love you guys. All right. God bless.